We are. Do you want to take us away?
Yeah. I love the title of this one. Thanks so much to our producer, Claire. To tooth or not to tooth? That is the question. Awesome etiquette question being submitted via Instagram. Thanks so much for following us. We are at Emily Post Institute over on Instagram. Question begins. Hi, I have a question for my beloved Awesome Etiquette podcast if you want it. Here goes. I had to have a front tooth pulled. The way implants work is you have to wait 6 or 7 months between getting your tooth out and getting the permanent new tooth put in. During those 6 months, you get an Invisalign retainer that I'm finding it impossible to eat with. Eating without the retainer is kind of off putting too. First of all, you're seen without a front tooth. I also feel like I eat funny. I can't take bites out of things. I'm trying to figure out what my policy is going to be when it comes to meeting people for meals. Should I eat in front of people without the retainer? Or is it polite to hide my toothlessness from others? I feel like the answer is it's fine to be toothless in front of others as long as you are fastidious. And that I should actually make a point of it because some people don't even get to have a retainer with a fake tooth. That said, I haven't been able to bring myself to do it yet. What do you think? Thank you very much. Anonymous. Smiley face.
Anonymous, I so wish we could get that smiley face with a missing tooth.
I do
I
too.
mean,
I want to see it.
as the father of 8 and 6 year olds, that gap tooth smile to me is such a charming thing. And the big picture answer to your question is we want to encourage you to do what makes you feel most comfortable.
Yeah.
That there isn't an etiquette should for you in this particular case. I'm not going to say, oh, you should use that retainer if you can, or you should not use that retainer if you can eat without it. What I will say is you've identified the correct thinking here, which is what can you do to be as fastidious and clean and neat, however you're eating, as possible for the sake of the people that you're eating with. And that is a really kind and considerate thought. And that is the heart of the good etiquette here. But beyond that, no one's going to judge you for something that you don't have control over, like I'm waiting a certain prescribed period of time before I can get my replacement tooth.
I'm holding back so hard here because we have, Dan, the other side of the family, so not the side of the family I share with Dan. I had an aunt who was missing a number of teeth in the front and had sort of a replacement retainer with teeth in it, the way our grandfather did. He lost his teeth in a motorcycle accident and had a retainer of fake teeth that he would pull out every now and again. And we, oh, Bobby doesn't have teeth. You know what I mean? But my aunt who did it, we used to try to get her when she was doing it. We were all together, sadly, for a funeral, but we were doing that thing of like aunts and nieces and daughters hanging out together, like woman bonding, just a close family environment, not in our normal zones together. And we just kept trying to get her to say anything. And the name Vanessa really was tough for her. And so she'd take it out and we'd get her to say Vanessa with as many S's in a sentence as we could. And then we were all just howling with laughter. And it was so much fun. But I digress. Sorry. This is like not just about toothlessness in general. But Dan's right. There's nothing wrong with eating without a tooth in, whether this is a permanent retainer with a tooth like our grandfather had, or whether it's something temporary like my aunt or like Anonymous is experiencing. And there's just nothing wrong with it. I would, however, let people just give them a heads up. Say, hey, I've got a retainer in, and I'm going to remove it, which means I will have a missing front tooth while we dine together. I hope that's not a problem for anybody. I just think it's nice to acknowledge it if it's not a normal part of your yearly life, like the way you just live, the way our grandfather did with those teeth. And it just kind of helps explain the situation, gives a little context for why it's happening. And that's what's really going to get people to not be grossed out, not even consider it a thing, not bat an eyelash at it. Dan, I also want to say I got stuck last year in a situation where my front tooth, of course, I can't talk as I point to it, but I had lost like all the backing on my front tooth. So the very tip of it was super brittle. And I couldn't get in for a week to see the dentist. And they were like, you should really just wear your night guard. My night guard is an Invisalign retainer, basically. It's like a really thin, clear plastic retainer. And so he was my dentist, awesome dentist, was just like, wear your night guard so that you don't chip that tooth further and make it worse. And we can just, kind of fix the back side of it to get you more structure to it. And I actually found it really easy. It was gross at first because it's like there is a barrier on your teeth when you do it, but I did find it actually easy to eat with that retainer on, and especially among close company like my cousin, it wasn't a problem, especially explaining like, hey, just a heads up, I have to eat with a retainer in and it looks a little different. Or when I was talking with people, hey, I have a retainer I don't normally wear all the time and it's making me lisp a little bit. Just want to let you know what's going on since I sound different. But I think explaining is the best way to go with these kinds of things.
And I couldn't agree more. And it doesn't need to be
No.
it's not a long explanation. You don't need to
No.
confuse yourself. It's just giving someone a little bit of a heads up to head off that surprise that might come, or that moment of awkwardness that might follow a moment of surprise if that was the result. I love the reminder, Lizzie, that it is possible to eat with a retainer in, that it's
Yeah.
really is a choice. And I said at the start, whatever makes you feel most comfortable. And that's both what makes you feel most comfortable eating, but also what makes you feel most comfortable with other people. And if you're
Yeah.
talking about someone that you don't see regularly, or maybe it's a one off encounter, a one off meal with someone, or maybe it's a more important meal, a business meal,
Yeah.
a business lunch, and you would rather not deal with the question about your tooth, or you would rather just let that not be the focus or not be something that comes up. It is okay to choose to eat with that retainer in, because it gives you comfort to not have to explain it or not have to get into it with the people that you're eating with, or not expose that gap in your tooth if that's not something that you want to expose. That can be part of your consideration about your own comfort, regardless of whether or not anyone should be judging you based on something you don't have control over, which they shouldn't.
Yeah. Dan, any other thoughts for our listener other than I just really hope that this gets resolved quickly for them?
Yeah, no, exactly. Good luck with the 6 month journey.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the question. We really appreciate an answer to talk about dining etiquette in a slightly different way than we've talked about it before.
Really glad to see everybody who's on this live. Again, Trina, our featured trainer, love having you here. Thank you guys so much. This will be posted over on YouTube, and we hope y'all catch the Awesome Etiquette podcast on Mondays.
Take
Bye,
care. Bye,
everybody.
everybody. And for the four eyes still on the screen, because I haven't said hi to you personally yet. It was so good to see you. As we continue to do these and we get more comfortable, we'll announce them a little bit earlier ahead of time so that we give you more of an opportunity.
Bye, guys.
See you back on phone, Lizzie Post.